What's up, guys? It's Benny. What is the most powerful words spoken during the 2024 election? Well, it has to be President Trump, right? Maybe J.D. Vance, maybe. But may I humbly submit to you that perhaps, depending on where you're coming from, the most important thing said during the 2024 election was this.
And my prayer is this. I ask God for 19 years to put me in a position where I could end the chronic disease epidemic and bring health back to our children.
RFK would go on to say, and then God sent me Donald Trump. And the crowd goes wild. I watched the crowd go wild. I watched RFK give a speech like that in a stadium like that in the front row, and I heard the rafters come crashing down. Ladies and gentlemen, such a powerful line, such a powerful drive. What a wonderful goal. What an important mission to accomplish. Can anybody argue with it? Of course not. No one would ever argue with somebody who's clearly this healthy being in charge of health in our country. And RFK Jr. is on his way to becoming the HHS secretary in this nation. Now, he's going to have to get hazed and trolled on his way there. Obviously, he's going to be forced to eat a considerable amount of seed oils in these McDonald's hamburgers and chicken nuggets and fries that have been procured for him. But nonetheless, he's going to make it. I mean, he's going to make it. And if you need any further evidence that this is a good thing, go ahead and check out the nosedive of all of the big pharma companies upon the announcement of RFK as HHS secretary. Well, ladies and gentlemen, get a load of this. Already having the most powerful consequences is this nomination that the FDA, in order to get ahead of it and maybe not give RFK the satisfaction of banning some of the most poisonous food dyes in our country, has decided to start banning food dyes that cause cancer. FDA bans red food dye due to its potential cancer risk. Food manufacturers have until January 2027 to remove the dye from their products. U.S. Food and Drug Administration has officially banned red dye, called red dye 3 or astracycline, from foods, dietary supplements, ingested medicines, reported the Associated Press on Wednesday. Food manufacturers must remove the dye from the products by 2027, while drug manufacturers will have until 2028. Why is this in drugs? Any foods imported from the U.S. and other countries will be subject to the new regulation. Why does it have to take so long? Why can't you just do this immediately? Seriously? Evidence shows cancer in laboratory male rats exposed to high levels of red number 3. Importantly, the way that the red number 3 causes cancer in male rats does not occur in humans. Oh yeah, you believe them? The synthetic dye, which is made from petroleum, uses a color additive to food ingested in drugs and give them a bright cherry red color. Who hell cares what color your food is? Shouldn't food just be the color of food? The petition to ban red dye cited the Delaney cause, which states that the agency cannot classify color additives as safe if it has been found to induce cancer in humans or animals. This is a welcome but long overdue action from the FDA, removing the unsustainable double standard in which red 3 was banned from lipstick but permitted in candy, says the director of the Science Research Center. Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, they're trying to beat RFK to the punch here, but RFK punches back and will punch back a lot harder. He's been doing that for a long time. FDA has banned dye 3, citing cancer concerns. The dye is still used in thousands of food, candy, cereals, cherries and fruit cocktails, strawberry-flavored milkshakes. MAHA. Kind of wild they waited 35 years to ban something that we eat that was already deemed to be unsafe. How much red food dye have you ingested in your lifetime? I mean, gallons of it? Food and Drug Administration said Wednesday is banning red number 3, a synthetic dye that gives food, drinks bright red cherry color, has been linked to cancer in animals. The dye is still used in thousands of products. Ladies and gentlemen, if something isn't safe for your skin, then it's not safe to eat. The FDA is finally banning red 3 from our foods. It only took them 35 years since they banned it from makeup. Now it's time to ban red 40, yellow 5 and 6, high fructose corn syrup, and all the trash in our food. That's exactly right. It's my hope that Robert Kennedy and the MAHA crew can get red 40 and other harmful dyes out of Americans' foods that kids eat every single day. Riley Gaines, ladies and gentlemen, saying the FDA wouldn't have done this if Harris had won. anything to prevent the Trump administration from getting credit. Nonetheless, this is a win. It took Trump winning to make this happen. That's right. You've been lied to for a long time, says Stephen Miller, quoting us in this important announcement. I thought RFK was wrong. That's right. Amazing. We're going to see some pretty remarkable things happen in our country. People are already looking deep, deep into the rabbit hole about some of the more horrible poisons like tetrazine that are in all of our foods that are still legal somehow. Bracing for the impact of RFK. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. This is exactly why the Senate needs to confirm RFK as HHS Secretary. I look forward to his leadership to combat corruption and increase transparency. Obviously, Donald Trump agrees with this. This is why he put RFK on his MAGA Avengers, MAGA Justice League, right? Here. Get ready, ladies and gentlemen. Get ready. It's happening. RFK Jr. reaches through time to ban things before taking office. A total and complete Time Lord. This is great news, says Gina Carano, but it shouldn't take social pressure and threat of RFK to get their jobs done. FDA approved used to mean something. What do you feel when somebody says it's FDA approved now? Yeah, well, what that means is that enough lobbyists have been able to buy their products into poisoning us and put on American shelves. Here is the single most important and motivating video I've ever seen a politician produce. It is RFK explaining what is in our food. And it's very simple, and it's spoken in plain English, and it's spoken from the heart, and it is a breakdown that is shocking but unbelievably important, and why I will fight tooth and nail as a father of 4 children to make sure that RFK gets the chair. Here we go.
This is what most Americans innocently put into their bodies these days, and most alarmingly, into the bodies of their children. And it's no coincidence that Americans die earlier than Canadians or Germans or Italians or Japanese or Koreans or Australians or most any other comparable country. And it wasn't always that way. Until the early 1990s, our life expectancy was the same or better than other developed countries. Then suddenly, more and more Americans began suffering from chronic diseases, from obesity, cancer, diabetes, kidney disease, Alzheimer's, heart disease, and all kinds of autoimmune diseases. Our maternal mortality rate soared to the highest of any developed country on earth. Same with infant mortality. Like the frog in the slowly boiling water, we didn't really notice as we got sicker and sicker. We've grown now to accept chronic disease conditions as normal. But now, in 2024, we're finally waking up to this cataclysm, and we're asking ourselves, how in the world did this happen? A big part of it is our diet. Restaurants that serve contaminated food are fined or shut down. But when it's the government that approves the poisons in our food, a few people get very, very rich, and the toxins end up in every supermarket aisle. Let me show you what I mean. Doritos, Cheez-Its, Cap'n Crunch, gummy bears. Everyone knows that these are junk foods, so maybe you wouldn't be too surprised to see that the ingredients include a lot of poisons, including a harmful yellow dye called tetrazine, or yellow dye number 5. What you may not know is that this dye was originally made out of the sludge that's left over when you turn coal into coke for blast furnaces. It's called coal tar, and I've actually sued many big industries for legacy contamination of coal tar all around the country because it's so toxic and it's so harmful to the environment and human beings. A century ago, it was just an obnoxious industrial byproduct that everybody was trying to figure out ways to get rid of. One of the ways that they did that was by paving roads. But then a British chemist figured out that the coal tar could be used to derive fabric dye. And if fabric dye, why not food? Food manufacturers began using it to cover up the discoloration of low-quality foods that they wanted to pass off on unsuspecting customers. They didn't know back then that this yellow dye, tartrazine, causes tumors, asthma, developmental delays, neurological damage, ADD, ADHD, hormone disruption, gene damage, anxiety, depression, intestinal injuries. Well, we know it now. We've known this for decades. That's why tartrazine is heavily restricted in other countries. In some countries, foods with tartrazine have a warning label that it may cause ADHD in children. Today, it's made from petroleum, not coal tar. Either way, it's crazy to add this to your kids' favorite foods. It doesn't even change the flavor. This yellow dye isn't just in junk food. It's in the foods that we consider healthy. It's in everyday kids' snacks like popcorn, mac and cheese, fruit snacks. It's in sports drinks like Gatorade and so-called vitamin water. It's even added to chicken broth, to corn, to pickles, to mustard, and to yogurt. And so, of course, our kids get sick. And we lovingly feed them chewable vitamins which have, surprise, tartrazine. And so the cycle continues until the coughs and asthma kick in, at which point you go to pick up some cough syrup. And yeah, you guessed it, tartrazine. I've been picking on tartrazine today, but that's just one of at least 100 chemical poisons that our health agencies allow into our children's food. I can make a video just like this to talk about Red 40, BHA, BHD, potassium bromate, chemical after chemical, and on and on and on. If just one of them can cause all of these problems, imagine what they're doing in combination. That has never been studied. If we took all of these chemicals out, our nation would get healthier immediately. We'd have fewer sick days. We'd have better focus. We'd have less anxiety. Our kids would learn more easily. We'd lose weight. We'd have more energy. We'd have fewer tumors and longer lives. It's not all dark. Over the past 16 years, the government has banned 8 chemical additives that cause cancer, genetic damage, asthma, and many of the other health conditions as tartrazine does. And you know what's interesting? All 8 of those crucial steps forward in our kids' health were taken under President Trump. But the Democrats who claim to be all about health care have stood by watching other countries ban these poisons and make our kids sick, asthmatic, hyperactive, and depressed. They left them on every supermarket shelf in America. They even used your tax money to put them in your kids' school lunch. So their big food and their big ag donors probably gave them all that golden handshake and the big money hug. And their big pharma donors probably called them up and thanked them also, because now they're going to make billions selling Adderall, Prozac, and rescue inhalers. Enough is enough. President Trump and I are going to stop the mass poisoning of American children. Together, we're going to make America healthy again.